tired of the awkwardness that comes from not understanding football or sports in general? Do you want to bond over a sport your loved one is crazy about? Do you just sit there and wonder what's going on when your friends discuss the happenings in certain football matches? You want to be able to make a contribution and sound informed when people discuss football? Then this is definitely for you. Football season may be on break because of COVID-19, but you can become a pro before the next season. I was discussing with a friend and former secondary school classmate of mine by name Olakite, and she was asking about the offside rule. After explaining to her, she suggested I made a podcast episode talking about the rules of football. You're welcome to another episode of Strictly Sports. This is the first for the year 2020. My name is John Bino, the hard tackling and the super dynamic midfield maestro. A combination of Makaleli and Javi, N'Golo Kante and Andre Pirlo, where intensity and tenacity meet craftiness and guile. And as always, I'm your pilot for the day. Today, I will start a new series, Sports for People Who Hate Sports, or for people who don't really even know much about sports. And this is the first episode. I'll be talking to you about some of the rules of football. I'll try to cover as much ground and make it as simple as possible for you. So, get your pen and notebook and get ready to take notes, or like the popular Instagram comedian I like to say, talking about Josh Too Funny, jot things down.
You are listening to Strictly Sports with John Binho.
Football rules and regulations are maintained and updated annually by the International Federation Association Board, that is IFAB. The board consists of 8 members, 4 of which come from FIFA and the other 4 coming from England, Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales, all countries that contributed to the development of the sport. FIFA's published rulebook is well over 100 pages long, and that is a bit ambitious for the casual player or fan who is just becoming familiarized with the game. It is also important to note that although FIFA publishes an established set of rules, they are usually modified by national and regional leagues and organizations. With that, you should ensure that you make further research on your own as regarding any rules that deviate from the norm. Now let's talk about the laws of the game. The current laws of the game LOTG consist of 17 individual laws, each law containing several rules and directions that are the standard for any professional or international match played. Let me start with the first one, the field of play. Football can be played on either grass or artificial turf, but the surface must be green in color. The field must be rectangular in shape and distinctly marked by 2 short goal lines and 2 long touch lines. The field is divided into halves separated by the halfway line, which runs from the midpoint of each touch line. Now, at the midpoint of the halfway line is a marked center point surrounded by a lined center circle with a radius of about 10 yards. Opposing players are not allowed to enter this circle during the possessing team's kickoff. The length of the touchline must be greater than the length of the goal line. Now, the regulation lengths are: the touchline minimum of 90 meters, that is about 100 yards. Maximum 120 meters, 130 yards. The width of the goal line minimum 45 meters, 50 yards. Maximum 90 meters, 100 yards. At each end of the field is an 8-yard wide goal centered along the goal line. 6 yards from each goal post along the goal line and 6 yards out into the field perpendicular to the goal line is the goal box. Extending 18 yards from each goal post along the goal line and 18 yards out into the field perpendicular to the goal line is the penalty box, or some people usually like to call box 18. In each of the 4 corners of the field is a 5-foot high corner flag. Now the ball. The ball used in football must be spherical in shape and made of leather or another comparable medium. Its circumference must be in the range of 27 to 28 inches. This rule is only applicable for official sanctioned matches, as youth leagues often employ the use of a smaller ball that is better suited to children. Now the number of players. Matches are generally played by 2 teams of 11 to a side. The goalkeeper is included in the 11-player total. Now, if a team cannot field at least 7 players at match time, the game is a forfeit, basically walkover. Teams of fewer than 11 a side can often be seen in youth leagues where smaller teams are used as a development tool. FIFA sanctioned matches are generally limited to 3 substitutions per match, with the exception of friendly matches. Most youth leagues allow an unlimited number of substitutions, which must also be listed on the game pad prior to the beginning of the match. The goalkeeper may be substituted with anyone on the pitch or any eligible substitute on the bench during a game stoppage. Now the player's equipment. All players are required to wear a jersey, shorts, shin guards, socks and cleats. The socks must cover the shin guards entirely. If the referee deems the player's equipment unsatisfactory, the player can be sent off until the issue is remedied. But there are certain players who really don't obey these rules. Go check Jack Grealish of Aston Villa. Let's talk about the referee. He or she is the authority on the field. His or her word is the law. If you question a referee's decision, you can be disciplined further simply for dissent. The assistant referees are primarily responsible for assisting the referee in performing his duties. This includes signaling with a flag when the ball goes out of play, when the player is fouled, or when the player is in an offside position. Now let's talk about the duration of the match. A football match is comprised of two 45-minute halves with extra time added for each at the referee's discretion. The halves are separated by a half-time period not to exceed 15 minutes. The extra time generally corresponds with the referee's determination of how much time was taken up due to substitutions and injuries. The amount of extra time is announced and displayed at the half line at the end of each 45-minute period. Although football does have an allotted time limit, and it is ultimately up to the referees as to when to end the match.
This is Strictly Sports with Jumping Hope.
Now the start and restart of play. Kickoff is generally determined by coin toss, whereby the winning team can either choose to start with the ball or choose which goal they would like to attack. The losing team is often afforded whatever choice the winner does not elect to take. Kickoff occurs at the start of each half and after each goal scored, and is taken at the center of the halfway line. Now, if a team scores a goal, the opposing team is given the kickoff to restart the match. Now let's talk about the ball in and out of play. The ball is out of play when it fully crosses either the goal line or the touch line, and it is also out of play if the referee stops play for any reason. If for any reason the ball strikes the frame of the goal or the referee and remains within the goal and touch lines, it is still in play. Now the method of scoring. The goal is scored when the entire ball has crossed the goal line within the frame of the goal. At the end of the match, the team with the most goals is the winner, barring the circumstantial necessity for extra time. Now offside. When an attacking player receives the ball while in his opponent's half, it must be level or behind the second to the last defender, the last typically being the goalkeeper. However, this rule only applies if he is involved with the play. When it comes to the offside rule, if the player is in his own half when he received the ball or when the ball left the leg of the passer, then the receiver can't be said to be offside. An example is the goal Fernando Torres scored against Barcelona in the Champions League semi-final in April 2012. So many people were asking, why wasn't he offside? I think that was even one of the questions that inspired me to do this episode. A friend of mine asked, she asked that why wasn't Fernando Torres offside in that particular goal? And I said he was in his own half when the ball left the leg of the passer, that's Ashley Cole, and then at that point he wasn't offside. So basically, and he also even received it in his own half. Now let's talk about fouls and misconduct. A direct free kick is awarded when a player kicks or attempts to kick an opponent, trips or attempts to trip an opponent, jumps at an opponent, charges an opponent, strikes or attempts to strike an opponent, pushes an opponent, tackles an opponent, holds an opponent, spits at an opponent. They're not barbarians. Handles the ball deliberately. If any of these fouls are committed by a player in their team's penalty area, the opposing team is awarded a penalty kick. Indirect free kicks are awarded if a player plays in a dangerous manner, impedes the progress of an opponent, basically a cynical foul, prevents the goalkeeper from releasing the ball from his or her hands, commits any other unmentioned offense. Yellow cards are awarded as a caution or warning to a player and can be issued by the following offenses: dissent by word or action, persistent infringement of the laws of the game, delaying the restart of play, failure to respect the required distance when play is restarted with a corner kick, free kick or throw-in, trying to waste time unnecessarily, entering or re-entering the field of play without the referee's permission, deliberately leaving the field of play without the referee's permission. Red cards are used to send the player off the field and can be issued for the following offenses: serious foul play, violent conduct, spitting at an opponent or any other person. Back then in the 1990 World Cup, Netherlands facing Germany, and you know what happened? Rudy Voila was spat on by Frank Rijkaard, and at the end of the day they sent off both Frank Rijkaard and Rudy Voila. Interesting. Although Frank Rijkaard went on to apologize later on to Voila, and Voila accepted the apology. Didn't even retaliate on the field of play. Denying the opposing team a goal or an obvious goal scoring opportunity by deliberately handling the ball, the goalkeeper being an exception, is another offense that could cause a red card. Remember when Luis Suarez in the 2010 World Cup, that was in South Africa, when in the quarterfinals Uruguay played against Ghana and Suarez went on to save the ball. He was sent off, and Asamoah Gyan lost the penalty kick. Uruguay went on to defeat Ghana in that game. Denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity to an opponent moving towards the player's goal is another offence punishable by free kick or a penalty kick. Using offensive or abusive language and or gestures, receiving a second caution, a yellow card in the same match. Now let's talk about free kicks. Free kick is broken into two categories, direct and indirect. A direct free kick can be shot directly into the opponent's goal without touching another player. An indirect free kick is indicated by the referee raising his hand during the kick. An indirect kick can only go into the goal if it has subsequently been touched by another player before it enters the goal. The ball must be stationary for both types of kicks. An indirect free kick could be played in a situation whereby a goalkeeper handles a back pass. The back pass is a pass backwards by his teammate, and in that situation, if he handles it inside the box 18, that's the 18-yard box, he gets penalized, probably a yellow card, and then we get an indirect free kick. Now, a penalty kick is awarded either when a defensive player fouls an attacking player or commits a handball in his or her team's penalty area. The penalty kick is placed at the penalty spot, and all the players on both teams must remain outside the penalty box during the shot. They may enter the box immediately after the shot is taken. The goalkeeper may move horizontally along the goal line before the shot is taken, but he may not come off the line until the ball is struck. Now, throw-in. A throw-in is awarded when the possessing team plays the ball out of bounds over the touchline. While taking a throw-in, a player must release the ball with both hands simultaneously and keep both feet firmly planted on the ground. If these conditions are not met, play is stopped and the throw-in is given to the opposing team. Players are not allowed to score directly off a throw-in. Usually, when you don't obey the rules of a throw-in, they call it a foul throw. Now the goal kick. A goal kick is awarded when the offensive team plays the ball out of bounds over the defensive team's goal line. After the ball is out of play, the defender or goalkeeper may place the ball anywhere within the 6-yard goal box and kick the ball back into play. Now the corner kick. So I'm sure when Barcelona fans hear the corner kick, they remember the days of Anfield. They also remember they remember that night at Anfield. They also remember that night in Rome when the Greek god, talking about Manolas, broke their hearts. Alright, the corner kick. It is awarded to the offensive team when the defensive team plays the ball out of bounds over its goal line. The ball is placed within the corner area and is kicked back into play by the offensive team. Players can score directly off a corner kick. Yes, so many players have done that.
This is Strictly Sports with Jumping Hope.
Right, this is where I call it wraps on another wonderful episode of Strictly Sports, a new series where I get to talk about sports for people who hate sports. Today has been about the rules of football. Thanks for joining me on this fantastic sports ride, and thanks to Olakite for giving me this idea. Chombio is my name, and I am the super dynamic midfield maestro. Don't forget to spread kindness around wherever you find yourself. Also, practice social distancing, wash and sanitize your hands, and stay safe. Bye for now.